All right, we got a new Landspeeder. It's been a while, right? I'm trying to think back. Was it 2006 or 2009 was the Saga collection was the last time we got a Landspeeder. So we needed one, and we got one in the vintage collection, which is great. So it has that classic Kenner packaging we all love with the updated figures, of course. This one comes with a figure, another Farm Boy Luke. Well, we're going to call it Landspeeder Luke because this one is specifically coming with the Landspeeder, has that floppy hat. It has the poncho he only wore out in Mos Eisley, his little rifle. So we have some elements of, out in the desert Luke, but also Landspeeder Luke. So this way we don't have to pull our Luke from our cantina, from our other vintage collection Luke that just also recently came out. So this is a nice addition. I'm excited about this. It's got some updates in there. You can actually fit the droid figures in there properly, which we haven't really had on the Landspeeder before. So we have that articulating vintage collection C-3PO, which allows you to actually sit him in here. So we'll show you that. We'll check it out with the new Obi-Wan as well. We'll put all the most recent characters in here. And we'll compare it back to that 2006 Landspeeder or 2009 Landspeeder. I forget the date. And then we'll take a spin and check out how it looks in our Mos Eisley display. So stay tuned. All right, we'll start here with our figure. So we have our new Luke Skywalker here. And you can see on his belt, I have his little lightsaber I put on there. This pouch is also removable, and I think this all helps with getting you to sit him comfortably inside the Landspeeder. He's got a soft good skirt right here, or I guess addition to his tunic, so that it allows him to comfortably sit into there as well. He's got nice movement in his arms. He comes with an assortment of accessories. Now he's got his nice floppy hat. He's got his poncho, if you want to put that on him there. He has the long rifle there that comes with the Landspeeder that mounts right here on the side, and I'll show you that later. He has a lightsaber hilt with the blade on it. He has his macro binoculars that could also mount on his belt. And he has the little droid controller that we see in that scene where he uses it to buzz C-3PO. So, ton of accessories with this Luke. Very nice. But let's check out the main show here, which is the Landspeeder. So here we go. We have a really nice accurate color tone on this Landspeeder. You have that great detail in the engine there. You can check out the front block as well. You can see all that detail in there. He has the steering column. You can see even detail on the panel here at the front, which you can see previously in other versions. You have this gap, very important, not on other Landspeeders. This allows C-3PO to sit in there properly. And then you have the mechanism where you could raise or lower the wheels if you want essentially the hover function or the clean look. But I mean, very nice. Really appreciate it. And of course, here's where the rifle would mount on if you were putting that on the side there, like some of the scenes in the film. But for our display, we're going to keep it in Mos Eisley mode. So we'll have our Luke. We'll just kind of trick him out here to get him into position. Now you can, through careful maneuvering, put his hands on there, the steering column. I'm not going to fuss with it right now for the sake of this video because it'll take me a while to do that. But you can get them on there. They do reach if you get them positioned in there properly. All right, so now we have our Luke. Let's use our brand new Obi-Wan from the Vintage Collection, who has much better posability than the previous Vintage Collection Obi-Wan. I'll be turning his lightsaber inward so he could sit down. But yeah, he fits in here much smoother than the Legacy Obi-Wan, which was also in the Vintage Collection, that 3-pack. So we have our Obi-Wan in there. We have our R2-D2 from the Vintage Collection. This is the first iteration, so he's a little bit dirtier. He goes in this way head first, and I guess that was just easier then for him to pop off the back, go back onto his legs like this. But he was head first in there from the film, so he sits on there. And then for the first time ever, C-3PO will have a comfortable ride because he could get his legs in the back. So every previous iteration, he had to just kind of sit there like this off the back. But now with our Vintage Collection 3PO and that gap in the back there, he could actually sit. He kind of sat a little side saddle like this in the film because of the turbine in the middle there. So he had to sit off to the side a little bit, but his legs were right there. So we could actually sit him in there. This is pretty amazing. So that is your Landspeeder here with all the characters in it that are available from the Vintage Collection to sort of round this out. And I think it looks pretty sharp. Let's go back a little bit to, I had the year wrong, 2002 Saga Collection. I believe this was the last 3 3/4 Landspeeder. So it it was a 23-year update, essentially. Had the rifle on there too. You can see the color scheme is drastically different than the film version. So they didn't properly capture that color scheme in there. They still had detail on the turbine. They still had the windshield, properly there on there. They had the wheels on the bottom so that you could take those in or pop them out. Same way here. This didn't open up or anything like that, but they tried to capture most of the detail here. No opening for C-3PO. So you can see drastically different, huge improvement over the original. It did come with a Luke. It came with this Luke here. You can see him. I didn't take him out of the package. It's a little dirty version of some of the other Lukes that were out at the time in the Saga collection. Articulating arms, but no articulating legs. He just needed to sit in here. But yeah, I mean, drastic improvement over this one. I mean, it's, I think, roughly the same size. This one might be a little bit larger, but I think they put this more appropriate in the scale. So you can see a big improvement over that 2002 version. So we're glad to have it. Glad to have a better Luke. Glad to have a place for C-3PO to finally sit down. So looks really great. Why don't we put it in our Mos Eisley display and see how it looks? All right, here we go. We have it all set up in our nice Mos Eisley display outside our cantina. So we have them going through the little interrogation checkpoint. This is the Landspeeder we're looking for, but you can see the droids finally fit in there. Nice. Everyone is ready for their little questioning and all set up. I think it looks really great. Forgive the light little bleed that I got here. I'll try to move this out of the way. But yeah, it looks really awesome in a display. I'm happy with it. It's really bringing everything together. Everything looks proper in there now, and it just adds a little bit more character. I think having the right colors and being able to properly display all the figures. So that is your look at the new Hasbro Vintage Collection Landspeeder. Well, that's it. That is the story of how we went from this to this. Only took 23 years. Much needed update in the Vintage Collection. Happy to finally have it. We have this great Streets of Mos Eisley set up. We have the great cantina. We needed an updated Landspeeder. I know it's a small element, but it is important, and it adds a lot of character to your display. It works nicely with all the figures. They gave us a new Luke to go with it as well, so you don't have to pull that Luke off of that set or get multiples of the same Luke. This Luke has some options. He has some display ability, so you could take him out of the Landspeeder and make him a walk around town Luke if you wanted to do that as well. So a lot there, a lot on his belt. You can switch it all out, display it however you want. Very excited to get this one. Available right now. You can pick them up from Big Bad Toy Store or other fan channels. So grab this one quick. I mean, get it on your display and to just help you elevate that to the next level. Well, that's all for this time. I'm going to have more coverage of more new products, so keep tuning back to our YouTube channel, our Facebook channel, our website. See everything we have. We're going to have, well, usually we have different things, different places, so you never know what you're going to find. Of course, we got another convention on the horizon, so stay tuned for more news on that as well. As always, like, subscribe, and follow, and stay vigilant, you Rebel Scum.